a 17-point lead and lost at home to the Chiefs. Cam Newton threw a crucial pick-6 in the fourth quarter. And now Carolina is 3-6. Hall of Famer Eric Dickerson is still with us. Eric, how much blame do you put on Cam for Carolina's struggles?
Well, anytime the team wins and you have a top-notch quarterback, he gets the praise. And when you lose, it kind of goes to him, too. One thing I've noticed with Cam this year is that they're blitzing him a lot. And when they blitz him, he's inaccurate. And I think that's what the defenses are doing to him. And also that defense, when they got in the Super Bowl last year, one thing about the Carolina Panthers is they would always jump on you. Like everybody was playing from behind. It was 21-0 at half. You look on and say, wow, 28-0, it's only the first half. Now they're playing these close games or they're playing from behind. And I think it's putting more pressure on Cam and their defense and their offense.
I agree. Cam is not having an MVP season, obviously, because at this point last year they hadn't lost a game. But if you look at last year's number, Eric and Skip, they were 6th in scoring D, 6th in total D, 11th in pass D, number 1 in takeaways. This year they're 23rd in scoring D, 15th in total D, 24th in pass D, and 12th in takeaways. And there you go. So, because what could happen, even when Cam struggled last year, the defense would take the ball away and give it right back to him. They weren't letting you score like we see now. If they'd have had this lead last year, a 17-3 going into the fourth quarter, there's ain't no way they lose in this ball game.
They did what you said yesterday. They did jump on them yesterday. Right. They're up 17-0. Right. Last year, it's going to 34-0. Quickly.
Arizona in the championship game. We saw how quick that game got out of hand. It went 7, 14, 24, 48, 40, and you're like, it's over.
Well, it's the same thing when they played Seattle. In the NFC Championship. They jumped on them. And I thought Seattle was a better team, but they played from so far, but was it 28-0 before you knew it? I mean, 2 picks, pick sixes, for touchdowns, and it's like 14-0. That's hard to come back from.
Yeah. I don't want to make too much of this, but I still say this team misses Josh Norman. Not his ability as much as his presence in the secondary, where they all fed off him because Josh talks a great game, as you did, and it sort of lifts everybody to think, we got Josh and you don't have Josh. And he would make plays occasionally, and he would take the number 1 receiver and maybe not take him out physically, but mentally take him out, as he did, obviously, to Odell last year. But now they got 2 kid corners out there. It's just they're not the same on defense. So Cam keeps trying harder and harder. He went back to dabbing yesterday to see if he could just sort of change the flow. And for a while he did, but he's feeling more and more heat as the reigning MVP and the reigning NFC champion. And yesterday in the second half, he wasn't very good. No. There was that one sequence early in the half when they had they got 1st and 10 all the way down at the 20-yard line. You've got a field goal that would put you up 20-3. I don't think Kansas City can come back from 20-3, not with Alex Smith having a bad day again yesterday. But Cam goes -1 on a run, -7 on a sack, -12 on a sack, and they go right back out of field goal range, and here we go. And all of a sudden, Kansas City gets some life. Cam throws a pick 6 that Eric Berry made a tremendous what a run. That was the best all day, right? Yep. And all of a sudden, they're back in the game, and then Cam throws a nice pass to Kelvin Benjamin. At the end, looks like they're going to drive and maybe get their field goal, and he gets stripped. And it was a hellacious strip by Marcus Peters. Just took the ball right out of his hands, went the other way, and the game is over. And that's what keeps happening to Cam game after game after game. But it has been a precipitous fall from MVP to now. His QBR is 17th in the NFL. And there are a lot of not very good quarterbacks ranked above him right now.
Well, one thing about Cam is, and he's right about this, they don't protect him like they protect the other quarterbacks. Yeah. And that's frustrating.
You mean the referees?
The referees. Like he said, the game isn't fun. Well, it's football. They're going to hit you. But some of the hits, like I look at the Denver game, those were flags. And I said, if that was Tom Brady, just like Tom Brady got I think Chancellor went down the offensive lineman pushed him into him, actually. The flags came from everywhere. With Cam, it's like, he's a big guy. It's almost like, well, if he runs, he knows he shouldn't run. He knows he should slide. They don't protect him the same. And I think that's in his head, too, because it's like, I'm not going to get protected. And it's frustration that sets in. I got to try to squeeze the ball in there. If I do run? Should I throw? I'm not sure. I think it's a lot of those indecisions that he makes.
And when you're struggling, because if you look at Denver's defense, the way their offense struggled yesterday, they had to think about it. They had to take the ball away 4 times and hop over the center and block in order for them to win the game.
did.
But that's what you have to do when you're challenged or you're struggling on one side of the football or the other. It's like the Patriots. When they struggle defensively, Tom has to play great. The Packers, if Aaron Rodgers does not play great with that other unit on the other side, they're not winning. So now it's really on Cam because his defense is struggling. He has to play well in order for his defense to say, okay, guys, I got you today. Because you're not going to have it every single game.
No, you're
every
not.
single game, you're not going to have it. Sometimes you're going to, hey, we only going to be able to get by 14 today, guys. Y'all need to hold him to 10,
hold him
13.
down.
Yeah, exactly. But right now, it's in his head. He's not playing well. I'm not getting calls. I'm not the MVP. I have an MVP, but I'm not playing like I played last year. And everybody have these expectations because you get a quarterback like Cam who's in his prime. Everybody expect like a Brady. When Brady was in his prime, they just kept going. Peyton Manning in his prime, they go to the playoffs every year. And now we're not used to seeing an MVP struggle like
not.
he's struggling in a follow-up season.
You know what the flashpoint to me was for Cam Newton? A week before the Super Bowl, he spoke out about being a black quarterback. I liked what he said. I agreed with what he said. I had no issue with what he said. But Cam kept getting asked about it, as you know from being in Super Bowls, where you're going to get asked day after day after day. And I think it tormented him. I think the spotlight got a little hot for him where he said, gee, maybe I shouldn't have gotten in there with that. And he tried to sort of back out of it a little bit. And then Von Miller tormented him in the Super Bowl and just tore him apart confidence-wise. And then we know what happened after the Super Bowl. A lot of people, I had no problem with the way he handled the postgame, but a lot of people did. And all of a sudden, it just felt like the sky fell on him, right?
The world was on his shoulders.
Yeah. And he never quite has recovered from it this year. Maybe he needs to start fresh and start over next year, right?
Man, maybe.
There will be a next year.
Eric, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Coming up, should a flag have been thrown against Cam Chancellor last night? Our rules guru, Mike Pereira, joins the debate next. Fourth down pass to Rob Gronkowski, but the play was ruled incomplete. No flag was thrown for pass interference. We're joined now by Fox NFL rules analyst Mike Pereira. Mike, should a flag have been thrown?
Well, not in my opinion. I mean, this is a play that when I was the head of officiating, I probably would have been more nervous than the officials because I'd have been in New York knowing it's the last play. And then seeing the contact, I'd probably run it by 5, 6, 7 times before my conclusion would be it's a nothing. I mean, because really who initiates the contact? You know, Gronk really starts to take a little move to the inside, very little, then engages. I think it's a terrific no call because I know that Seattle plays an aggressive defense, but to me, I don't see him grabbing anybody. I don't know who initiates. To me, I would want that called in the first quarter, and I don't want to call in the fourth quarter either.
A terrific no call.
I thought it was
an
egregious no call. And I'll tell you why.
Egregiously good?
Egregiously bad. I thought Cam got away with pulling off a sly veteran move. I agree with you that Gronkowski put his hands up to avoid the jam, like Cam's coming to engage, but he didn't push off. He just tried to stop him so that he could cut to his left. And at that split-second moment, Cam gets away with reaching up and grabbing and pulling, a quick yank, and then Cam pulled off the perfectly executed and beautifully sold flop to me because he falls on his back with his arms up like, who, me? I didn't do anything. But he tugged hard enough to pull Gronkowski off his route toward the ground, and Gronkowski winds up stumbling and falling. And to me, if you reach and grab and yank, it's pass interference, and it should be in the first quarter, and it should be on the last play of the game.
Well, I don't see the grab, for one thing. I don't see the grab. I mean, I see him sliding off of him. I looked at it a lot from Cam's perspective to see what I thought from there. I mean, a defender has the right to protect himself. I don't know where you stand on this. I don't like that look, but
I'll stand with you. We united.
Okay, then be quiet for a second.
He stands against the greatest tight end ever. That's who he stands against.
Look at here's what I feel like, and by rule, a defender has a right to protect himself.
Okay.
From a receiver that is coming at him. Come on now. We all know that Gronk likes to be physical too. I mean, we talk about the Seahawks being physical. He likes the collision. He likes to get away, and we've seen it a lot.
So
collision, the defender,
from a referee's perspective, you're going to let DBs get away with more on Gronk, right?
I think you're going to be aware of, because Gronk does get called quite a bit for offensive pass interference.
Yes.
And so you are aware of that, of his technique. He likes to use the big guy, smaller guy technique. So I think, to me, when I look at that play, and obviously, even as we disagree or you disagree, if we have this disagreement, then I think it's clear that they make the right decision not to throw the flag. I mean, it's just too close. And to me,
2 + 2 doesn't equal 4 to me.
It
Just because
doesn't?
we're disagreeing, then they shouldn't have called the flag.
I mean, if there's that much doubt, and I will say this, the conversation always comes, when you get to the last play of the game or that whole series, do you let them play? I mean,
so where do you stand on that philosophy?
I mean, it would be me that would be responsible for that when I was in the league office. If I touted the philosophy to my officials to say, when it gets to the end of the game, let them play, then I think I would be guilty of being unfair to players and other officials and trying to change a standard of how to officiate at the end of the game versus the first of the game. So I always said, whatever's a foul in the first quarter, it's a foul in the fourth quarter. Be consistent. I just want you to be consistent. And so, to me, this was a perfect example of not succumbing to the pressures and making a judgment. And it's interesting, because you shift out into a formation and, you got mechanics in the NFL. There is one official that's responsible for Gronk. And so, you've got to make that solid judgment. And to me, the official makes the right call.
And when you say don't succumb to the pressure of the home crowd.
Don't succumb to the pressure of the play. It's not the pressure of the home crowd. It's the pressure of the play. I mean, that it's 4th and goal. It's the end. You're not thinking.
Although it doesn't decide the game, it just gives them another crack at the end zone, right?
Sure.
Well, the thing is for me is that the only thing that Gronk and I have in common is that we both played the same position because we're night and day. He's a physical player. He what we call bumper cars. He liked to collision the guy and then break.
You were too.
No. I was a finesse guy. Because the way I looked at it, Skip, if I got close enough to him, he could grab me. I didn't want him to grab me, so I'm trying to stay as far away from him as I possibly can. And plus, I was only 228. I was a big buffed up receiver.
You were a strong. You were.
But you see, when Gronk get ahead of steam at 270 and he runs into somebody, they're gonna move. They're gonna move out that plot. And so Mike, if I'm understanding, Cam is entitled to a plot of land also.
Always is. You cannot bowl him over. Right. You can't block him downfield. So, and it's perfectly written out in the rule book that you're entitled to your position. Right. And you can use your hands to brace for the contact and protect yourself. And I think, really, to me, it was more Gronk initiating than Cam.
Okay, could this operate? I know this is hard for you to answer, but could it operate in that referee's mind, his psyche, that this is Cam Chancellor, a decorated, one of the top safeties in pro football, against a guy that we referee more like Shaquille O'Neal factor, sort of syndrome where, we're going to let people get away with a little bit more, that maybe Cam would get the psychological edge in the referee's mind?
Not a chance. I mean, when that formation comes out, when they shift into the formation, the only thing that the official is thinking, the side judge in this case, is, okay, I've got him. That's all he's thinking. He's thinking offense, coming off the line of scrimmage. He's not looking as to who's covering, what the number is. I promise you, he can't, and even I can't think Chancellor's number. I wouldn't even know. Oh, I see it. It's 31. I see it on the screen now. But that's not how the psyche works. You don't have that time frame in your 40 seconds between plays where you have to count the number of players on defense and do the types of things that you have to do, the routine to come up with that. You're just thinking, here's my guy, that's my responsibility coming off the line of scrimmage, and you're not thinking about who's protecting any of that stuff.
No call.
I disagree.
No, Skip.
Yes. I couldn't convince you.
No.
You gave a very compelling
The
argument.
man was head of officiating in the NFL for a number of
But he had to
years.
protect the NFL.
Yes, but
right?
I would say this. I used to give gold stars. I used to give gold stars for the call of the week.
That's a gold star call?
I give it the gold star. It's often much harder to pass on a call than it is to make a call. And to me, in this one, with all that we feel about it, because the game was on the line and he passes on that's something that I, as the head of officiating, and the competition committee representing the competition wouldn't want called, it's a gold star.
Wow.
Skip, you remember you were in high school and you were taking those senior pictures and the women would take their pictures like this?
Mm-hmm. That's you right now.
That's how you're looking.
Mike, thanks for joining us.
I bet you're probably upset now that you asked me to come on today.
No, I value your
No, he
opinion.
does.
I just disagree with you. And I think your opinion helped make my opinion. So I'm okay.
Coming up after a wild Sunday in the NFL, who has emerged as the best team in the league? Colin Cowherd joins the debate next.